He turned 16 on Christmas Day, but is on a wait list for his Ohio driver's license. He has 2 seasons racing in the USF-2000 Indy Series. Indy race driver Evagoras Papasavvas will be in Louisiana on the NOLA Motorsports Racecourse the 26th and 27th of this month. Call it spring training. Just 2 weeks after that, he'll be racing at speeds up to 150 miles per hour as the green flag drops to start the USF-2000 Indy Race season on the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida. Hello, everybody. I'm Chuck Gibson, and this is a special sports presentation of Loveland Beacon Talks. Evagoras is with us now to share his thoughts on the off-season coming to an end, the start of the 2024 racing season, and his goal to climb to the top for a Series Driver Championship this year. Here now is Loveland's own IndyCar driver. Well, welcome back, Evagoras Papasavvas. It is great to have you back with us here on Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special. We're talking racing again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's great to have you with us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So, and you've been busy, even though it's off season. And and I have to say this. So as we sit here recording this podcast today, we got white stuff falling out outside the window. A little bit of snow landing on the grass here in lovely Loveland, Ohio, as we sit and record this. But we're, in 10 days, you're going to be on the track in Louisiana.
Yep.
So the season's fast approaching. What I want to talk about, what I want you to share, how's the off season been? Going back to, you finished the racing season and then you got on the track for testing in October at Indy. So if we start there, tell me, what's been happening with Evagoras Papasavvas?
Yeah, so after that test in October, driving-wise, nothing really has been happening. It's just been training, going to Indianapolis every week to do reaction training with Airs Elite Sports Division. And then almost every day going to a local gym here, D1 Cincy North is where I go to work out, get prepared for my races. And I mean, like I said, driving wise, nothing really has been happening. It's kind of been, pretty, not that busy. But then because we had a very big gap from that race or that test in October all the way to January. January was the first time I was back on the track. And I believe that was at NOLA.
Right, yeah. I was going to say between the October Indy and now, you did get to NOLA.
Yeah.
Now, how many days did you get to spend at NOLA on that one?
NOLA was only 2 days.
2 days, right.
So, and that test was really, both those days was really just knocking the rust off. Not having driven since October.
Not rust off the cars.
Yeah,
I love that.
Off of my driving.
Yeah,
but yeah, so after and I feel like that test was very, very good for me to have, and it was about time for me to have a test like that to just knock off all the rust from not driving for so long.
Now, was that excuse the interruption, but was that JHDD testing or was that series testing?
No, that was just JHDD testing. So it was just private testing, just me and the team and the other drivers, of course, testing in NOLA. And that's very important, not only to knock the rust off, but also because we're going to be racing there during the season. So it's really good to be there, get the initial track knowledge.
Yeah, that's going to come up. That's going to come up your second weekend of racing, I think.
Yeah,
first one is St. Pete.
First one St. Pete, and then we go to NOLA.
Yeah.
So it's very good to have that initial track knowledge. So when you go to NOLA for the race, you're not spending more time initially learning the track.
Right. Well, so, and I'm going to back up a little bit too, because we kind of blew off that October Indy thing.
Yeah.
So and of course the difference when I say JHDD, folks, for you listening right now, that's the J. Howard Driver Development Team, for which Evagoras races, and sponsors, and it all comes with JHDD. But that weekend in October in Indy, that was the series testing. So, your USF-2000, the group below you, and then the group that's USF Pro is the next one up.
Yep.
So there were 3 racing series groups with, 20 cars in each group or something like that that were getting on the track. That's different than when you've got your team at NOLA, and that's really focused testing and focused work at NOLA versus, but I still want to go back. So in October at Indy, what was that, what were the benefits of that testing, and how did, what did you guys learn? What did you feel came from that for you back in October at Indy?
I think, not much really. It was kind of just, getting that seat time, and also just that extra kind of track knowledge, track time, because we do race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so it's good to get that, like I said before, continue building on your knowledge of that track. But I mean, other than that, setup wise with the car and learning stuff from the car, really nothing, because that was the last test that we did on our old tire provider, Cooper Tires.
Right.
So now we're with Continental Tire, so that changes basically everything that we know about the car and what certain things do with the car.
Well, now that makes sense, because when I hear you say not much really, just seat time, now that makes sense, because it's not about setup, it's not about those tires, it's seat time on that track.
Yeah.
Because tires and setup is all going to come with the new tires now. So when you were at NOLA in January, was that on the new tires, or is that still?
Yes, NOLA was on the new tires with the Continental tires, and right off the bat, I personally did not feel any difference, because, and also if you look at it the factors of everything to be able to feel the difference, none of those boxes were checked. I haven't driven since October, right? And I've never used the Cooper tires on that track before, so I didn't have anything to compare it with.
Yeah, that was.
So it was just new track, new tires. Haven't driven since October, so it was really just getting the rust off. Getting back in the groove of things, because in racing, especially with my series and my car, it's not kind of you jump straight in. There's a groove that you have to get into.
Yeah,
it's a special setting that you get into to drive that car.
I love that. Getting in the groove. I don't know if I would relate it to feeling it.
Yeah.
Is that what, so, for you, so during that week, the 2 days at NOLA in January, did you, did you get into the groove? Could you feel it and say, hey, I'm back in the seat, I'm back on the track, and, did you get to feel that?
Yeah, NOLA, I definitely did. It definitely took me, a few laps to get there. But yeah, once I got there, it was good to be back for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of where my second home is. Very familiar with that feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very good.
The happy place.
Yep, exactly.
In the seat, in the cockpit.
Yep.
With that steering wheel and a foot on the accelerator.
Yep.
Again, and for the listeners, just a Chuck note real quick. Was fortunate to go to Indy with you for the 2 days at Indy back in October, and I don't mind telling the people that are listening, out of we watched 40, 60 drivers in 3 different series, and maybe some of those guys in the USF Pro that are the next step up for you, maybe some of those guys looked as good as you. Yeah. But clearly to me, watching throughout that testing weekend at Indy, folks, Evagoras is at the top of his class in that USF-2000, and it was a pleasure and a treat to watch you drive. And the biggest, most fun part wasn't recognizing you could handle the track, you could handle the car, and that you have those skills, but watching the smile and the happiness in the seat. Even and things didn't go perfectly all weekend, but this, folks, this young man is happy in the cockpit, and so that was fun to see. It's not it's you're doing the business,
Yep.
but it was really nice to be able to see you firsthand and see the talent and the skills that you apply on the track, and at the same time have fun doing it, and we could see the enjoyment.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to ask about, did you get the groove at NOLA, because that's where you get the smile. It's like, oh, it feels good again, right?
Yeah, and that's also where all the lap time comes from as well. The speed comes from, is getting into that groove. You feel connected with the car. You understand what the car's doing and why it's doing it.
Yeah.
And that's just like the special relationship that you would have with the car. And especially, I've been driving the USF-2000 since like the end of 2021, really.
Right.
So it's been some time. So I'm very familiar with the car, and when I get into that groove, it's really something special.
Yeah.
Where I can understand what the car's doing, why it's doing it, and also what I need to go faster as well.
Yeah. Well, so and that leads to the question. So I talked to you, like, how much did you get? Well, it was seat time, and it was just whatever in October at Indy. But NOLA, it was okay. These are the tires. This is the car. You're feeding. You're giving feedback to the race team, to your mechanic. So how much did you feel like you got out of the time on the track at NOLA in terms of being able to say, okay, here's some things we want to do for setup and things like that? Did you get a lot from that, or?
Well, so NOLA, it wasn't what we were hoping for in terms of like track time, seat time, because while we were there, actually, the weather over there was really, really bad.
Oh.
It was a lot of rain, lightning, thunder. Now we race in the rain. We put on rain tires, rain setup, and we race in the rain. But it's the lightning. When there's like lightning that comes within a certain radius of the track,
flag.
of the track, then we can't drive. Yeah. So it was just that lightning, and almost every time before we were ready to go out, like we put our helmets on, everything. Lightning strikes, and then we have to wait like 30 minutes, and then it happens again and again. So it's just, we didn't get as much track time as we hoped.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit disappointing, as we didn't really accomplish much there. But it's just like, from my perspective, it's just good to drive at least a little bit, just to get the rust off, because as realistic as my racing simulator is, it's still nothing compared to the real life thing.
Well, that's when when that happened, and you kind of shot down the next question, which was going to be how many laps were you able to get in? Obviously, a lot less than you had hoped for at NOLA. But that's where folks, the simulator setup and Evagoras' simulator setup, that's where it becomes really important for you.
Yeah.
And the amount of time that you're able to put in simulator right here at home. So does that look different this off season for you than it has in the past, or how important has it felt to you?
I feel like it's always been important, even in go-karting, and even when I first started in cars, even though I didn't have the experience on cars, I still feel like it's equally as important, no matter where you are. I still spend a lot of time down there on the racing simulator, just trying to learn as many things as I can. And there on the simulator, it's really like just kind of working on different kind of driving techniques, and just understanding, okay, I go left and then I go right again, and then left, just kind of, learning the track, and then like the basic racing line, and then also like, driving techniques that would improve you as a driver, so it helps. So those techniques go with you as you go up the levels, and also those techniques help you go up the levels as well.
Well, and again, for the listeners, maybe somebody's a little bit new. So the simulator, you're simulating on tracks that you will be racing on. So when Evagoras just said, I go left and I go right again, and that's going to be exactly the line that you're looking at when you get on the track at Indy, when you get on the course at Midwest Ohio, or when you get on the course at NOLA or whatever. That's going to be the layout. So that's a really cool feature with today's technology to be able to get in a simulator.
The tracks that they use, the service that I use is iRacing, and what iRacing does is they laser scan all the tracks that they go to. So the iRacing crew actually goes to those tracks that I race on, and then they laser scan it. So we have, pinpoint detail, like, there's a bump here, there's a curb here, and, there's like a seam here. So we know exactly what it's like. So when we get get there in real life, it's the exact same.
Yeah. How would you describe, for a listener, or for me, sitting here with you, I'm not a race car driver. I might know some of the terms and things, but I'm not a race car driver by any stretch of the imagination. When you talk about techniques, give an example of maybe some techniques that you pick up and that you're, when you're out on the tracks testing, and including, when you're sitting in the seat in the simulator. What are some techniques that you pick up?
Most of the techniques that most drivers focus on, because that's where the most time is braking. Because it's kind of ironic in racing. In order to be the fastest and to go fast, you need to learn how to brake. Because if you think about it, it actually makes sense. How to brake, in the shortest amount of time.
Right.
So, one of the biggest techniques is just in braking in general, hitting the brake pedal harder initially when you first press the brake pedal, or getting off the brake pedal better, so that way you have more speed in the corner. Yeah. So just general things like that with the braking, and then we do focus on some things with the throttle as well, like being a little bit more patient before you get to the throttle. So
when you come off a brake,
that pedal work.
That's the answer. I was going to say when you get off the brake, getting right on the throttle, but maybe not punching the throttle to the floor and grabbing everything, but being patient to push through and gain the speed. Or that's what I assume that's what you're talking about without me doing.
Because sometimes getting right to the throttle is not ideal, depending on track and especially weather conditions. For example, if it's raining, you have way less grip, so you can't go to power initially. Yeah, you get a lot of wheel spin, and then that just slows you down. It's just working on those techniques and making sure that you're driving to the best of your ability.
Yeah. I'm hoping I don't get any wheel spin on the way home in the snow tonight. But
you might.
Well, right now, looking out the window, it's still snowing, but the roads are wet, not white.
Yeah.
Wet and white are two different things.
Yeah, I've never driven a race car in the snow, so I can't really help you there.
I wouldn't recommend it.
not at all.
I'm pretty sure they're not going to make you do that.
No, I don't think so. No, ever. No.
But it's a real interesting dichotomy to be sitting here talking about on the track and then watching the snow fall out the window at the same time. But that aside, so what I was also leading to on those techniques. Are you looking for techniques that help you find the line on the track? And is that a term that you use like in IndyCar? I know it's definitely a NASCAR thing, a line, but isn't there a line when you're in a race what's the line that I should be on, or what's the line?
Yeah, there is a line, a racing line, but it's different than what it is in NASCAR. NASCAR, they primarily do ovals, so just turning left. And there is a line or a lane that you kind of follow.
Right.
Almost that kind of helps you get around the corners the fastest with the banking that those tracks have.
Right.
But IndyCar, they race on a lot of road courses. Same with me, I race on most road courses. I only have one oval event during the season. So finding that racing line, it's different than what it would be in NASCAR, but it definitely still is there. But those techniques, they could help you with the racing line, but mostly it's just helping you with just finding time in general.
Speed through the turns.
Yeah, because you could compare one driver and another driver 1, driver 2. They could be doing the exact same line, but driver 1 is half a second to a second quicker than driver 2, but the line is the exact same. So that's when you have to look at the data of the cars to understand why he's going quicker.
Yeah. Well, so I think I guess the big difference, it's very obvious when you think about NASCAR. 98% of their races are just ovals. They've thrown in a couple of road courses in recent seasons, I think. But that aside, it's ovals. So for you, the place you're finding a line is in a series of curves, as opposed to it makes perfect sense as you were describing it to me. It's like the light bulb went on for Chuck. I was like, yeah, it's only through when you have a set of curves on a road course, you're trying to find a line through those, and then the technique of the braking and then the throttling back up is key in those, in finding that line and finding a way through that line in a set of curves. Obviously, when you're out of the curves and you're on a straightaway, I never thought about this, but obviously that braking, coming out of the last turn and knowing that you're going into a breakaway, you're finding out, okay, where do I throttle up? And then when do you get to get wide open? Which I'm thinking, I'm waiting to see that big. Cause how does wide open feel when you get on that? You've got a bit of a straightaway, and you can get everything that there is out of your car and its motor. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean it's an incredible feeling, where you get to full power, and in these cars, we only have 175 horsepower, so most of the time we can get to throttle pretty aggressively, and it works out well. When we have a good amount of grip in these cars when it comes to putting on the power. So, but yeah, like for me personally, the best feeling for me kind of comes to when you get to the end of the straight, when you're still flat out. Just seeing like how much the car is like pushing like through the air to really get to that like top speed before you have to press the brakes.
Yeah. Well, and again, then that's where it becomes important, because I'm sure the straightaways, does that feel like the straightaway disappears in an instant for you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like you could, like one of the straightaways that we have. On one of the tracks, I think at Road America in Wisconsin, the front straightaway there is a mile long, so 1 mile, but we get rid of that straightaway in like, I don't really know, but say like around 5 to 10 seconds or something.
I was going to say, we're not going to do the math here.
Yeah.
Your dad needs to stand here. The engineer needs to calculate that in an instant for us. But if you actually reach, let's say the 150 or whatever that's pretty much the potential, right?
Yeah.
So 150 over that mile.
Yeah.
So 120. It's just, I don't know. A mile at 120 miles an hour is like 2 seconds or so. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but we're not traveling 150 miles per hour. Obviously, we're like accelerating, so it is some extra time.
There's a part, but the bottom line, going back to the start of the question, was, does that straightaway disappear in an instant? And then that brings you to, now, when you're in that straightaway, you're working the whole race. I think that's what people, even I have to stop and remind myself that the driver, yourself, Evagoras, you're in there working. And so when I'm thinking for a minute, like on that straightaway, you really get to enjoy it, but you're already like, well, I'm coming into that next set of turns, and you need to use that, again, it goes back to the most important thing is the braking technique, so that you don't like overshoot it, not get the brakes early enough, or get too much brake, or maybe hit the brakes too early, and it's all becomes that time lost or time gained.
Yeah. Yeah, so those straightaways, we don't really get to enjoy them as you think we do, because like you said, we're just all getting ready for that next corner and kind of playing it out in our mind what we're gonna do.
Do you have moments? I hope so. Do you have moments during a race where it's like, yes, even though your focus and your concentration is on the next, whatever the next thing is, another curve or going into a nice straightaway, but you can, you're in that groove, you feel it, and you're thinking, yes, I had to groove right through that.
Yeah, and this actually happened to me recently in Sebring. So after our NOLA test in Sebring in this month in February, we were testing there, there, it was just like there wasn't many people at that test. There was other people from other teams, but I was driving in sunny Florida, so the weather was nice, and I found that groove of I was just able to just drive, and the car felt great. Everything was I like to say perfect, but nothing's really perfect in this sport.
In this world.
In this world.
But definitely in the sport.
Yeah, so, I found that groove. I was just, just completely. I wasn't really thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
And it was just all happening. It was perfect.
Well, so and we're coming into the final few minutes of our opportunity to talk today. I want to talk a little bit. So, as you said, you've been going to Indy every week for the reaction training. So, how's that been for you throughout this off season? I mean, are you do you feel like you're picking up things in reaction training? And
yeah, I mean that's been really good. I've been doing the reaction training a while back since karting, so I've been with them for a long time, and we've made immense progress since then. But I mean, yeah, it's
going well.
Yeah, it's going really well. Just making sure and kind of just making sure that my reactions are at the top as they can be, because there could be that moment on track where something happens in a blink of an eye and you need to do something to either to stay in the race so you don't crash, and a small moment that could happen in a blink of the eye, that could decide the championship if you really think about it, with how tight, especially in this series, how tight the points are. Getting in one crash could set you back a lot of points in this championship.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because that firsthand just by how the last weekend of 2023 played out for you. I mean, that smallest little difference between being there in the top three, or for that matter, even just small differences over the season, being the championship points winner, period. I mean, it's such a small margin.
Yeah, the biggest place where I experienced that was actually IMS, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. When we were racing there, I had an engine failure in one of my races, and I think going into that race, that event, I think I was third in points, right behind second in points, so I was right there.
Yeah.
And then after that, I dropped all the way down to fifth or fourth in the point standings. So, I was just that one race.
And then it's scratching and clawing to get back to three.
Yeah.
Right?
And actually, at the end of the season, I never managed to get to three. I finished fourth in the championship.
Yeah. But a great season behind you. Looking ahead to a great season in 2024, which is just right now as we're talking, I feel like it's minutes away.
It's really just gone up on us really fast.
Yeah. In 10 days, you'll be back at NOLA.
Yep.
For testing.
Mm-hmm.
And then 14 days after that will be St. Petersburg.
For the first race of the season.
First race weekend of the season.
Yep.
That'll be March the 8th. I think March 6th or 8th, something like that. Anyway,
yeah, we obviously
March
leave.
8th.
Yeah, we obviously leave earlier to travel there.
Right.
And everything, but yeah.
But, give me just kind of your view right now as you're coming to the end of the off season. What's it like with the anticipation for you of hey, next week I'm back on the track, I'm back in the seat, and then 14 days after that I'm racing. How are you feeling? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It could not come any sooner. I really wanted to. Yeah, I'm super excited because I want to get back racing. I haven't raced since September last year, and also because I know that this year I have a really good chance of winning the championship. That $450,000 scholarship to move to the next level. So I'm just really looking forward to get racing and competing at the front where I know I'll be. So yeah, just super excited and can't wait.
Well, I want to give you a chance because we got to take care of the people that are taking care of you. So, a couple of words about being with Jay Howard Driver Development. What has that meant to you? This experience, not just this off season and coming into the upcoming season, but in the last couple of years with JHDD, what's that meant for you?
Yeah, so I really love my team. I've grown a very strong relationship with them. They were the one who kind of picked me up out of karts and put me into a full-size race car. And I stuck with them. I have faith in this team. This team is a really good team, and I know that we can achieve great things together. I'm just really thankful for everyone on the team. I know that we can achieve great things, and that we can do it. We can achieve anything. We can go out there, win races, and even win championships, and win championships in the future as well.
It all sounds great to me, and I am looking forward. Thank you so much, Evagoras, for joining us again. And I'm going to invite you right now, with everybody listening, to join us again after each race weekend as your season goes on. So hopefully right after you finish up that March 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever the stretch is on that first one in St. Petersburg, when you get back, let's talk again and again and again. And I'm going to say this, thank you so much for joining us, and just win, baby.
Yeah, thank you. And also one thing with thanking my team, I also want to thank my sponsors as well. Like I mentioned before, Airs Elite Sports Vision, they help me with all my reaction training. And then RP Diamond recently, so very local. RP Diamond helps with merchandise, and having those local sponsorships very, very important to kind of spread the word of me around here. And then Marvel Matisse Paris, Evagoras Enterprises, and then Tiger Natural Gas, Bodywise International, and then
the list is growing. That's great.
Yeah, and the more sponsors, the better, because I cannot do this without my sponsors. And I mean, I really do need the money to race. It's very, very expensive, and that's why the scholarship this year is so important to me. I need to win that scholarship. So yeah, the more sponsors, the better, because you guys sponsor me, and then you help me continue chasing my dream, and continuing my career in this sport that I love.
Well, people that hear this, and you never know who's listening, and I was just going to say, what's the best way for them to reach out and join the effort?
Yeah, so we actually have a GoFundMe set up. You can go to my GoFundMe, and you can scan a QR code. And then also we have the GoFundMe linked on my website,
which is
Evagorasracing.com.
Perfect.
So that's where you can find the GoFundMe. And then also, just reach out for sponsorships. We'll continue to be reaching out to people, especially locally. So, yeah.
Outstanding. Well, Evagoras, one more time, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, really a pleasure.
It's always a treat.
Yeah.
Keep racing.
Yep, that's the goal.
That was up-and-coming Indy race car driver Evagoras Papasavvas. Be sure to join us throughout the USF-2000 2024 Indy Series racing season as we follow Evagoras to the checkered flag in pursuit of a place on the winner's podium and a driver championship. This has been a sports special presentation of Loveland Beacon Talks. I'm Chuck Gibson, saying thanks for listening here on Loveland Beacon. Loveland Beacon Talks is a presentation of Loveland Beacon Digital Media and Gibson Communications, LLC.